Welcome.
You are watching Line Screw 1. Well, hello tubers, hope you're doing well wherever you are in this crazy YouTube universe. Today I figured I would talk about Alaska, the Alaska cruise that is coming up for me. Well, I've done it before, been there, done that, been up and down that coast many times, even on the ferries. We have British Columbia ferries that run up through there. Very expensive to put your vehicle on the ferry, including the Alaska Marine Highway ferry, but it does save you a lot of driving. Pro tip, if you got the green, hey, why not do it? But let's talk about why you should not cruise to Alaska in July or August. There's a lot of benefits by cruising in either April, May, or September or October. The season doesn't exist any other time. You can't cruise to Alaska generally in the middle of winter for obvious reasons. But the main advantages that I see, and I've seen it before when I've been up there, is that it's cheaper. That's the main number one reason. Now, how much cheaper? Well, it can vary depending on the cruise line and the capacity, because cruise lines are just like airlines. They're capacity driven. When there's high demand, the price goes up. When there's low demand, the price goes down. And as we all know, we're in the post-COVID era, so some people are still a bit averse to doing that cruise. But I will say this, it's more than just the money. It's not just about the money. Yes, you can get a cruise cheaper. You can get that balcony or suite cabin. I actually have a cabin with a balcony booked. What you want to do, if you do not like the crowds, you also want to book in April or May, or as I said, September or October, because the kids are in school. There's a lot less families, there's a lot less backbiters, the little kids that scream and yell. And some parents don't think that they need to actually police their kids while they're on a cruise ship, and these little backbiters will scream and yell and run and do all sorts of crazy things at 3 in the morning when you're trying to sleep, or even when you're in the main dining room. Sometimes the kids, they just run amok. Meanwhile, you're wearing a $600 Italian suit, paying for your fine meal, because the meals are included, but some of the exclusive restaurants you have to pay for, and you got the kids running around screaming and yelling and doing weird things. There's a lot less of that when you don't cruise in July or August, because the kids are in school. The parents, teachers are still working. You know how it is. The parents aren't going to take their kids out of school for the most part for those spring or fall cruises. So, big bonus. And another big bonus, Alaska cruises aren't, the booze cruises. They're not like the Caribbean cruises. It's a more mature, older crowd. And you get even a more mature, older crowd when they announce these cruises in the spring or the fall. They attract people like me, people in their late 50s, 60s, or 70s, because we don't want drunk 21-year-olds running up and down the hallway while we're trying to sleep in our cabin. We don't want that. And we don't get that if you book your time appropriately. So it's something to think about, because I know many people, they plan years ahead, and they think, oh yeah, I should do the cruise to Alaska. But they're wondering, well, when should I do it? Now, of course, the disadvantage for the fall or spring is that there will be rain, guaranteed. Look, it's the same ecosystem that I live in here in Vancouver. Coastal Alaska is just like coastal British Columbia. They're the same thing, just slightly cooler. So the rain will be slightly colder, but you can bank on the rain. So you're paying a rain premium for going in July or August, because there will be a lot less of it. Can you still have rain in the summer? Of course you can. Can you still have great weather in the fall or the spring? Yes, you can. I was lucky on my last cruise about 10 years ago, where there was very little rain at every port of call, and that includes Ketchikan, Skagway, and Juneau. But it's just part of the game, right? So why pay more? If it's a horrible day, well, you can plan your activities accordingly. And another little pro tip I would give you is that if you're going to book your shore excursions, don't do that until you actually are about to arrive and you can actually get a grip on what the weather is going to be doing. Because if the weather's horrible, why book a shore excursion that's going to be hampered by the rain and really ruin your enjoyment? So hold back a bit, wait a bit, and see what that forecast is going to be. You can actually access the internet while you're on the boat a day or two in advance. See if the weather is going to be appropriate for what you want to do, whether you're going to go walk on a glacier, go on a boat, do some whale watching, or whatever the case may be. If the weather's going to suck, don't book it if you're not up to it. So, but it's going to be cheaper. And another little tip, shore excursions, while they do sell them on board, they're often cheaper if you just walk off the boat and book them. The only caveat that I must say is if it's an official excursion sold by the boat, if you're delayed for whatever reason, they're probably not going to wait for you if it's not an actual officially sold excursion from the boat. But you're an adult, make your decisions accordingly. So I just figured I would throw that out there because let's face it, Alaska, it's a fun cruise, and for people who don't live here in the Pacific Northwest, it's a lot of money. I'm very lucky that I can just drive to either Seattle or Vancouver and board the cruise ship and just get her done. I don't have to pay for airfare or any of that stuff. But there's people that come from the United Kingdom, continental Europe, Australia, and faraway places elsewhere that they plan years in advance, and they go, oh, sorry about the noise, we got things going on here. I know the background doesn't show it. That's because, guess what? It's a chroma key screen. Yes, chroma key. That's what I do. I can do it, so I do it. Anyway, getting back to the topic. You actually need to think well ahead, and if you're flying from a long ways away, why would you pay that summer premium unless you can afford it? Hey, if you can afford it, go peak time. But keep in mind that the ports of call in Juneau in July and August, there's sometimes 5 or 6 cruise ships that are parked there. So you're fighting with thousands of people from other cruise ships to do whatever you want to do. So when you're walking around Juneau, it's not the locals you're even bumping into. No. When you go into the Red Dog Saloon in Juneau, place that I will be and I have been, you're going to be swarmed with tourists. That's just the way it is. So another pro tip is when you go off season, there's a lot less cruise ships that can be in the port of call. So you're fighting against less people and less crowds for all the things that you want to do. Because who likes crowds? Well, maybe if you're from New York City, you might like the crowds. But hey, I don't like the crowds. So save some money, avoid the crowds, avoid the screaming brats, and avoid the drunken 20-something-year-old kids. Just go in April, May, September, or October. Preferably May or September. You know, it gets a little more dicey in terms of the rain in October and April, but that's the way it is. It's Mother Nature. What can you do? Just a few pro tips that I'd like to throw up there before I leave, as I talk more and more about the cruise ship industry and cruising in general, because I'm going to give you a little tip. I might even do another cruise in the interim. I got some time to kill, so hey, why not? I actually grew up in the far north in the Yukon as a kid, so I'm kind of used to the weather up there. It's no big deal. I like the food on the cruise ships, and generally speaking, it's really good value for your money. Where else for maybe 120 bucks a day can they not only give you a place to sleep, entertain you, drive you where you want to be, and feed you for that kind of money? In fact, there are more and more people that actually are living full-time on cruise ships. It's kind of a growing industry. I know the cruise ships don't really like that, but you know, it's actually becoming more and more affordable that you actually could spend months on a cruise ship and live aboard. Of course, every week or two you'd have to get off and get on another ship, or turn around and rebook in, but that's just how affordable it is. Sometimes cruising is cheaper than living. Just my thoughts. So you put your comments down below about cruising in the off season, or well, actually not really off season. Let's call it the shoulder season, because there really is no off season for cruising. So put your comments down below, and I'll see you aboard. Take care. In the meantime, stay safe, keep your wheels in the ground. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.